Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and a lot of times I talk about some of my sponsors on here, and when I do, you might think, oh, well, that doesn't apply to me because I'm in the UK. Well, Coin Tracker, I did my taxes using Coin Tracker, but they also work with everybody, not every country, but they're trying to get to where they work with everybody around the world, and I know UK is one of them. Listen to this.
What Coin Tracker does is it allows a user to very easily see their cryptocurrency portfolio and calculate their cryptocurrency capital gains and losses for tax purposes in just a few minutes. And the way that works is, as a cryptocurrency user, what you can do is come in, connect read-only access to any cryptocurrency wallets or exchanges, NFT services that you're using. The tool will synchronize retroactively and continuously going forward all of your transaction activity, and then present for you as the user a summary of what assets you're holding, what cost basis you have, what are the capital gains and losses, and help you get the relevant information you need to file your UK self-assessment.
There you go. So the link to that will be in the top of the description. We've got XRP Darren, who started a very interesting thread. Check this out. Being the conspiracy theorist that I am, I think the Digital Asset Investor is one of those too. Actually, I don't really even call it a conspiracy theorist at this point. When I started this channel 4 years ago, I would have been one of those people that don't, what? Are you kidding me? Not now. I think there's probably 75% more what they used to call conspiracy theorists that are now we just know something's going on that doesn't add up, and we're not being told the truth about so many things. Now we just know. He says, being the conspiracy theorist I am, I can't help but notice Bob Way coming out of nowhere to dampen the hype. What is the motivation? I am dampening the hype. This is certainly not my intentions. I'm super hyped. I just want to make sure everyone's hype is focused on the most profitable directions. Then he says, this is the one that he says that Bob Way, I didn't see him ever answer this. This is the one that interests me the most. Does Ripple periodically ask you to chat with us? In my paranoid mind, you're dampening hype because you know something about the SEC verdict and are preparing us for bad news or Supreme Court news. I'm not trying to be offensive in any way. I don't know anything about the SEC case, but I think it will be over real soon. I'm also bullish that Ripple will prevail. Ripple is a company that sold registered stock to investors. They're not scofflaws. I don't know what that means. If anyone had said XRP needed to register, it would have been. And what's interesting here is that he doesn't answer this question about Ripple periodically asking him to chat with us. I find that fascinating. Then he said, but what's up with the Supreme Court? And Darren is referring here to if the judge ruled that this should go. I don't know if the judge would even rule that if the thing ends up going to the Supreme Court. Then Bob Way says, I'm thinking something will be finalized soon. Seems crazy for the SEC not to settle. Look at that. Seems crazy for the SEC not settle, especially with the current contrast with FTX. Ripple, 10 years of building value and no victims. FTX, incompetence, fraud, and puff of smoke. And who's being sued? Anders L., who's a sharp guy too. Well, seems to me the U.S. likes to protect their incumbents. Wrong. Removing friction also means removing revenue for large incumbents, correct? And then he goes, and if the lawsuit was a weapon, why would they willingly settle? I don't think they would willingly settle. I only think they would settle if they had no choice and had to show those Hinman documents unredacted. Nothing I've seen points to I agree with that. Nothing I've seen points to a willingness to settle, but what I've seen in their willingness to try to hide those Hinman documents makes me think that that is what would force them to settle if they had to show them unredacted. And the judge, to my knowledge, still has not done the final ruling on that. unless having no other, well, he says it there, unless having no other option. Bob Way says, I think the SEC will settle rather than lose. No regulator or prosecutor likes to lose. I think Ripple has a good defense. I think the SEC has a plausible charge, but a lousy case to bring to trial. What Ripple did was simply reasonable given the guidance they provided. So this is where I think we're at, folks. And I think he's hitting over it. And I think Andersell's kind of hitting over it too. And that is, when those Hinman documents, unless this judge is a freaking bad guy too, which I'm not, I don't think that. There's no way. How many times have these judges ruled to show those Hinman documents? It's been more than twice, I think. And the SEC just keeps on filing different things to try to stop it. But the SEC can make a loss look like a win by getting Ripple to say, okay, we agree that we'll pay this big monster fine. Let's say $100 million. But you give us XRP clarity now and going forward. That's an agreement that could happen. And then Gary could come out and say, yes, I got the biggest fine or whatever in whatever. Okay? That's how I think this goes down. Until I see those documents, that's what I will believe. Now, Charles Gasparino, look, I don't know why, I don't know what the motivation is, but Charles Gasparino is just beating the drum over and over this, trying to put out this fear thing. Every time he puts out the fear thing, I retweet it and I turn it into a glass half full thing, the way I like to look at things. So like, for instance, here he says, breaking, crypto community sees a bloodbath if the SEC prevails against Ripple in the form of regs oversight that will impact nearly every sector, including the exchange biz, given Gary Gensler's desire to force registration of every coin but Bitcoin. We discussed now on Fox Business. I didn't go and watch that, but I turned that into my own words and I said, we see moon if Ripple prevails. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. And he says, it's definitely a plus. Then he says, scoop, Coinbase tells Fox Business it's developing a plan to survive a SEC regulatory crackdown on digital assets using broker-dealers to trade coins registered as securities. Move comes as SEC case versus Ripple looms. SEC win could force coins aside from Bitcoin to register. More fear. Now, this right here, and I did a tweet to this effect. Look, and I'm not saying these guys are going to be able to pass anything like this. I'm sure they need the Senate to do it. Might just be symbolic. I hope it's not symbolic. What if it wasn't symbolic? Let me tell you something, folks. And what it says here is Republicans are preparing to vote on a bill that would abolish the IRS and eliminate income tax. Folks, write this down. If this ever happened, if we have ever had enough good people in our Congress, House and Senate, and a good person in the presidency to make this right here happen, you would see, not just in the United States, but across the world, you would see the greatest economic boom in the history of the world. What if, just what if, and I know it's not likely, I know it's most likely just them trying to pound their chest that they have some power now and they can't really get it done. But what if? What if this was the plan to happen in conjunction with bringing in digital currency? Look what the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel says here. Consumption tax plays right into the new digital economy. The Treasury can take the tax right from the purchase. Store owner nor retail buyer has to worry about sending the tax to the government. What if, folks? What if the government all this time, what if they were just waiting for a mechanism that would make it easy to abolish the IRS, but they needed a mechanism where they could immediately draw those taxes as things happen? What if digital assets are that technology? What if that was the plan all along? I know, doubtful, but here's, when I saw that, I thought this, because I remember some of these lawyers or politicians say this a while back. If you can strip, because they were also talking about stripping the money from those 87,000 IRS agents. What if the House could also vote to strip the SEC of its ability to spend money regulating crypto? How about that? That should be done too. All the evidence is there to take that power away from someone who's abused it. Just in, Crypto.com to delist Tether USDT in Canada, citing compliance with local regulator. Then we have this, and I believe there's not a doubt in my mind that Barry Silbert just sent a message to the XRP community. Remember, Barry Silbert and his digital currency group were one of the first investors in Ripple. He owned his DCG. They owned XRP in 2016. Then in 2019, he replied to a tweet and said that XRP is not on our conviction list, but we couldn't get him to answer whether they still owned it. Okay? Now, he's replying here to Cameron Winklevoss, who basically says he needs to lose his, the board of DCG needs to remove him from being the CEO. But I'm not going to go through all this. This is just him saying where he stands and all of that. What I'm interested in is the last thing he said. Let's all grow together, treat others with respect, and get back to having fun and making a dent in the universe. I can assure you that DCG is certainly committed to doing so. Please refer here for my full statement. If you remember, that's what Naveen Gupta said. Ripple is here to either make a dent in the universe or go away, and they're not going away. Now, a couple more things. This is Twitter preparing to launch new coins feature using Stripe. Now, when I saw that, I just wanted to remind everybody, Stripe was the first backer of Stellar, okay? And this is right when Jed McCaleb left Ripple. Stripe is getting 2% of the Stellars in existence. They're now called XLM Lumens. 2% of the Stellars in existence in exchange for $3 million. At the time, folks, as I recall, Elon Musk was also one of the investors in Stripe when this happened. There are no coincidences, folks. Then let's cover this. The XRP ledger's missing Genesis block. This is something I just wanted to bring to your attention. This is something a lot of people don't know, and I don't know all the technicalities of this. I just want to read this part to you. Many are unaware of the fact that the XRPL effectively has no recorded Genesis block due to a server bug. Approximately the first week of the ledger's history has been lost and so far has not been recovered yet. That's interesting. Now, they were having it yesterday. I don't know when they had it, but I saw it yesterday, and it was a replay, an XRP buyback discussion on Twitter. And Matt Hamilton, who used to work at Ripple, was on there, and this guy Patrick Riley, who I think is an attorney and is involved with Jimmy Valley's their committee on this thing. So they were having a I guess you'd call it a debate. But this clip where this Tease Crypto guy asks Matt Hamilton a question was an interesting clip to me, because Matt Hamilton kind of, to me, validates why we're all here right here.
But in terms of...
I don't mean why we're all here on the XRP buyback thing. That's not what I mean. I just mean he validates why we're all here interested in XRP.
But in terms of price appreciation, if we do see an environment where institutions globally, when you're speaking of, debt, derivatives, tokenized value in general, from a global stance, what do you see happening, not just to XRP, but to utility tokens and distributed ledgers that are responsible for transmitting said value in that environment overall? Do you see that utility essentially being the catalyst globally for positive price appreciation upward?
Yes, in short, I do. I mean, that is why I'm invested in XRP. That is why I build on the XRP ledger. The more utility, I believe, there will be, a upwards pressure on the price of XRP, because XRP is used to pay fees, it's used as a bridge currency, etc. So I believe there will be some appreciation.
That's the answer. That's what matters to me. That's why I've been here. That's why I came here. That's why I've been here. For me, I can't speak for the 75,000. There was a lot of people in the 75,000 that John Deaton represents who never even heard the word Ripple. And so they just bought this XRP thing. They didn't even know about Ripple. And so, but this right here is why I'm here. That right there, what he just said. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that, yeah, I believe that the more utility that comes into XRP, the higher the price is going to go. I believe that these, not just XRP, but these utility tokens might, once we have the regulatory clarity, these utility tokens where there's actual money going through them, they might be, yes, they'll be for utility, but they also might become an investment vehicle, might down the road, that has something that no investment I've ever heard of has, which is a floor. Because once the use is going on and they're needed for use, I've always compared it to a bathtub that is filling up with water. The utility is the slowly rising water level, and then over time the speculation, the ups and downs of the speculation are bouncing off of the top of that water level, which is the utility. And I don't think there's ever been an investment like that in the history of the world. Thanks for listening.